Hello, everybody. How you doing? And welcome to the Focus on Greatness podcast. I am your host, Hiram Roche, also known as HR. And as always, it is truly an honor to be able to be here with you, my greatness tribe. Hey, listen, I want to be able to kind of have a great conversation. I know that there has been some distance of time since the last time we've actually talked, and there's a lot of different things that has transpired over throughout this year, really, and it kind of brought me to where we will be talking about on tonight. We've all heard this phrase of statement: "Change is hard." And reality is change can be very, very hard. But the question that I want to kind of lean into as I talk about some other pieces is why does change have to be so daggone hard? Throughout this year so far, there has been a lot of different changes that has happened and occurred in my life. There has been from one dynamic to another, from relationships to jobs to cities. I have it's so many different transitions that and changes that has occurred in my life, and so with these different changes, this thing of looking at that change is hard has been reality for me. It's not just something where it's like a good phrase and a good piece that we can just jump into. No, it's something that I am currently living in. And I have to be able to ask the question again: why? Why does change have to be so hard? Is it hard just because you are changing statuses? Is it hard because you're changing locations? Is it hard because you're changing your diet? Why is it really hard? Well, one of the things that I'm recognizing is that the reason that change is hard is because the first thing that change does is change makes you focus on you, not the situation, not what you're changing from, not what's going on around you. The first thing that I believe change starts to do is change makes you go and I deal with your identity, the identity that you had in the season that you were in before you transition and change, and as you're walking into this new season. Because reality is that we have to understand is that your identity per se of who you are, the core being of who you are, does not change, it just grows. And there are things in your identity that need to either be adjusted or need to be brought to the current or brought forward. There are certain pieces of who you are that you have not even tapped into. But the reason for the change is so that the change can affect you in a way where certain pieces and qualities about yourself now have to come forward. But that has only happens when it's change. So change becomes hard because the reality is change makes you identify and examine yourself. It makes you think about like what things did I do? What things did I do right, wrong, indifferent? Who am I in this next phase? Because reality is you don't know who you're supposed to be in the next form of your life or the next place of your life or the future pieces of your life. You really don't know who that guy is, who that person's going to be, because reality is you really don't know what you need for your future. Your life is not like your job. Your job, you can just look and see what is the requirements for the next season. What is the requirements for a promotion? What are the things that I need to do or obtain to be able to get this? Like if I want to get another type of job, what degree do I need to get? What education do I need to have so that I can? That's those things are challenging by itself, and those things are hard by itself, even with knowing what is required. But let's be very honest and real. You don't know what is needed for your future. What you know is that you want to go to your future. What you know is where you currently are is not where you want to be anymore. Like what you know, certain pieces, but you don't know what's really all the way in you. But life through change pulls and pushes those things so that the thing in you can be able to come out. So I want to really use someone that I believe is a great picture of this. And there's so many different people that you see throughout Scripture that when they were having transition, the first thing that was brought to their attention, the first thing that they had the struggle with, the first thing that they had to examine or to face was their identity. Was who are you? Because again, some things in our future or in our more so in our past, some things has affected who you are. Some things has not allowed you to be able to fully tap into the full potential of who you are. Some things you did not need in the last season of your life. Some parts of your identity was not required for where you need what you were functioning in or what you were doing in the last season. Some things now are required for you to walk into your next. Some things are required for you to be able to do the things that you're trying to achieve or what God needs you to do in this next portion of your life. Some things are expected for you in this next, but before you can walk into this next, we have to deal with your identity. We got to deal with who you are. So the person I want to be able to look into is a man by the name of Jacob. He comes out of this scenario of where when he's born as a twin. He has a brother by the name of Esau. Esau basically was born a few seconds before him, so he was considered as the older brother, the firstborn. Scripture allows us to be able to see that they have been wrestling from the womb. They were fighting in his mother's womb all the way until they had gotten even older. There was always this battle between them in one shape or form of another. Well, some things transpired where Jacob's mom and Jacob basically they teamed up to be able to trick their father so that Jacob could get the birthright. They did some maneuvering, they made some things happen, and Jacob ended up getting anointed or blessed with the birthright of the firstborn. When his brother found out, his brother wanted to kill him, making Jacob now running for his life, literally. He has now left his father and mother's house. He has now started to build his own family and legacy and things of those natures. And now Jacob comes to a moment where he has experienced all these different things with God. He has had personal experiences with the Lord in his journey. And now he's getting to a point where he's about to cross to go over into another season of his life. And this other season of his life, he has to come face to face with the thing or the person he's been running from, which is his brother. And now they're about to meet for the very first time in years. The last time Jacob saw him, his brother was wanting to kill him. Now he's about to be able to come face to face with the situation that he's terrified of. Scripture says that he basically now is standing at this water, this crossing place. He distanced himself from the rest of his family. And while he's distant, he has an encounter. He has an encounter with God where the scripture allows us to be able to see that he wrestled with the Lord. And so I want to read this portion so then we can kind of get some glimpse and understanding. And then I'll share some other pieces as we go along. So in Genesis chapter 32, verses 24 through 28, it's just 4 verses of scripture I'm going to read, and then we'll continue go. It says this. It says, "And Jacob left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him," this is the angel saw that he was not prevailing against Jacob, "he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint. As he wrestled with him, he said, and as he wrestled with him, and he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, Jacob said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with man, and has prevailed. Now I'm going to stop there. This is the ending of verse 28. What we see in this context of scripture is they are wrestling, God and Jacob is wrestling. Now it's time. The angel or God is saying, "Look, all right, man, I'm tired of wrestling. It's about to get the sun is coming out. I need to get up out of here because I don't need nobody seeing me. So let me go." Jacob says, "Listen, you don't understand what I need for this next season, what I need for the thing that's ahead of me. What I need is I need you to bless me. And I am not willing to let you go until I get this blessing." God says unto Jacob, "All right, I'm going to bless you. What's your name? Who are you?" I'm not saying how much cattle you have, how much money you got. I'm not asking you about your positions. I'm not asking you about all these other things that you have achieved, how many servants you have, wives, and how's your relationships going. I'm not asking you any of those things. Before I let you go, then, before I let you walk into this next season, before I let you go into this next place, before this change happens, we need to be able to find out, who are you? Let's deal with your identity, because I cannot let you go into this next place unless we realize and deal with, who are you? Jacob says, "Listen, my name is Jacob." And he says, "Nope, let's clear this up. You're no longer Jacob," meaning you're no longer the trickster. You're no longer the person that was manipulating people. You're no longer functioning by that identity. You're now, because of where you're about to go, because of what you're about to walk into, there is something that I have to pull out of you that's always been in you, but I got to do this by your identity. So no, you're not going to live by that name no more. You're not going to live by that mindset, that lifestyle, that behavioral pieces. You're not living by Jacob any longer. Now you are functioning by Israel. I need you to know who Israel is. Israel is not just a normal person. Israel has a level of identity that you need to have a clear understanding of. Israel is a prince with God. This man got power. He got authority, not only in heaven, but he has authority also on earth with man. I need you to understand that what's in you has always been idle. And the only reason why now I am tapping into it is because you're about to transition into a new place. You don't understand that on the other side of this water, on this other, when you cross over here, you don't understand that you're reconciling a relationship. You don't understand that you and your brother are no longer at odds, because your brother has forgiven you and recognized that he wasn't supposed to be the one that got the blessing of the firstborn. What you don't understand is on the other side of this, you're about to walk into your promised land, and you're about to be able to build a tribe of people from 12 sons. You don't understand what's about to happen next, but I recognize and I understand and I know what your next looks like, but I can't let Jacob cross over. The person that has to cross over is Israel. So we got to wrestle. Yep, we got to tussle. I started this fight on purpose. We got to go through this. I got to make this. This has to be a struggle and a challenge. This change has to be hard, because what I need is what's in you to come out. But it ain't going to come out because life is easy. It's not going to come out because everything is going good around you. No, it has to come out of hardness. Your identity has to be shown because of your next. So change is hard. Trying to realize and understand who you are when you're already an adult is difficult. You talking about the hardest thing ever? You think a teenager is struggling trying to figure out their stuff? They got time to be able to do all that. They ain't got no reflection of what their life was before now. So now you get me at a place in my life, and I'm talking now personally. Now I'm at a place in my life where it feels like I'm literally having to relearn me. It's hard. Change is hard. Change is difficult. Change is stressful. But the purpose of change, one of the purposes, I'm not going to say it's the main purpose or the only, but I believe that one of the purposes of change, it forces you to deal with your identity. It forces you to deal with who you are. I can go through and show you people like Moses, people like Gideon, people like Ruth, people like Esther, people like Peter, people like we call Paul, Saul, Zacharias. We can go through a litany of different people that have had to deal with the same context. And if you were standing right here in front of me and we were having this conversation face to face, I would call your name because you can recognize that change is hard and it forced you to look at yourself. It forced you to examine some stuff within you. It brought out something within you that you didn't even know you had. Now, here's the thing that I do want to say. Change is hard because it makes you identify or look at your identity. It makes you pull something out that wasn't there before. It makes you relearn you in a new season, in a new place. But this is also, there's a danger in change being so hard, specifically when it comes to who you are. Because sometimes what also can happen is we can start examining our lives, examining things that has happened, examining why I'm in this change and what these things, different things are. And you can get to a place where you start to get hard-hearted, hurt, bitter, angry, frustrated with all the things that has put you in the position for this change. All the things that didn't go right, all the things that you wish could have changed before, all the things that these things could have, I wish I would have made this decision or did this, or I wish I wouldn't have had to go through this, or whatever those situations are. We can then sometimes, when we're looking at who we have become, we can look at all the negatives and say all of these bad things has happened to me, and I have a horrible life, and become bitter and angry. But the reality is, right, wrong, or indifferent, all of those things that you have went through, all the challenges that you have had, all the struggles that you have experienced, everything that you have went through up to this point in your life has helped to shape the person that you are. So we have to look at those things not as negatives. Don't get me wrong. There are going to be moments in time where you're going to feel certain things, and certain things are going to trigger you and remind you of some of the pain points that you had. And it's going to make you feel some type of way for a season. It's reality. Jacob felt some type of way for a season. Scripture doesn't allow us to be able to know the emotional effect of how he felt when he saw his brother after all those times, even though his brother opened his arms and ran to him and told him how much he loved him, and gave him blessings and gifts and all of these different things. It does not say how Jacob felt. I know how I would. If I was in Jacob's shoes, even with this new identity and that I'm just walking into, that I really don't know the fullness of, only thing I have is the memory of what you have done, or what the experiences of my past. And the first thing that I go to, and I come to you, and you loving on me, and you doing all of this, I'm gonna be honest. Hey man, I don't really trust this though. I'm gonna love on you. I'm glad to see you. Glad the first thing you ain't do is shoot me. First thing you ain't do is try to kill me. I'm glad for that. But I'm gonna be side-eyeing you for a minute though. Like we're gonna be we gonna ha and kiki for a minute. We're gonna laugh it up, chop it up, have fun, do all those wonderful things. But I promise you, I'm not fully invested yet, because I don't know. I don't know if I can trust it yet. That's what I would be personally. Why? Because the only thing I have is the memory of my past. And while I'm still trying to learn this new me, and I'm going through all the emotional pieces that come with that, I'm also having to walk into something new. My future. I've never been here before. This new version of myself. I've never seen this man before. So he was emotional, just like we are. Just like sometimes you don't understand why. You don't understand why I'm here. Why am I going through this? What does all of this have to do with anything? Why did I have to deal with this? I get it. What am I supposed to be? Now, some of my struggles is not just those aspects. Some of my struggles, surely, when it comes to my identity, is this person going to be good enough? Is this person going to be strong enough? Will he succeed? Will he fail? Will people accept him? Will people deny him? It's a part of who I have been. And in the process that I'm in right now, in this change that is so hard, is he's making me so uncomfortable. One of the pieces that he's making me uncomfortable in is, Hiram, listen, we're struggling right now. Me and you wrestling, partner. Me and you are wrestling. But some of this wrestle is because I'm trying to get you to a place where you're not looking for the approval of man. You're not looking to be this acceptance and only doing things because you want them to accept you, but you're wanting to do things because you know that this is what you like, you enjoy. This is what I'm calling you to do. This is what I've asked you to do. You're not moved by so many voices. You're only moved by mine. But that's a part of the growth of my identity. I understand that I'm called. I know that I'm called, and I have an assignment on my life. But I also recognize at this point of my life that I'd never seen it like this before. I recognize that I could not handle the assignment for my future if I didn't get this identity correct. And because he's so loving and because he's so kind, he's going to put life's pressure on you so that we can deal with the things, the weak points in you that should no longer be there. Some stuff shouldn't have been there in the first place, but because of life, it came. It's now there. It's hit you the way it hit you. And he's saying, look, I'm allowing the stress. I'm allowing the pressure. Jacob didn't ask for this fight. God did. But he's saying, I have to change you. And this change is going to be hard because the first thing I'm dealing with is, who are you? What's your name? What's your identity? Who are you? Moses, God asked Moses, listen, I want you to go and I want you to go deliver these people. Moses said, man, listen, I ain't even good enough for that. Who am I? He said, exactly. That's what we need to deal with. That's in Exodus chapter 3, verses 11. It says, and Moses said unto God, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? He said, good. That's the thing that I have to deal with. I know you're called. I know you have an assignment. I know you have a responsibility. I know you're supposed to do that dream. I know you're supposed to open that business. I know you're supposed to make these impacts. I know what you're called to do because that's what I created you to do. I know what's in you, but let's deal with let's bring this change and pressure. Now I'm gonna put this pressure on you. And the first thing that we're going to deal with is, who am I? Your identity, sir. That's what you struggle with. You struggle with, are you good enough for this? You struggle with, are you qualified for this? You struggle with, can I be able to accomplish this? You struggle with this is in me being in this position going to give me the people that will approve me, that I've been waiting for them to be able to say I'm good enough, that I'm waiting for them to be able to say, you're doing a great job. I've been waiting for them to love me and appreciate who I am. Now I'm dealing with that. Let's deal with that because that's the struggle. This assignment has nothing to do with their hand clap. The assignment and the call on your life has nothing to do with, are they going to approve it or like it or not? Because the reality is, you're going to do something, say something that I've called you to do and say that they're not going to approve of. Then what are you going to do? I can't have you struggling and teeter-tottering and back and forth because we never dealt with it in your identity. So we have to have change. And the first thing I'm dealing with in this change is you, not your environment, not your job, not your locations, not this relationships, and not this economics. No, I'm dealing with you. I'm dealing with who you are, the core of your being, because that part of you, that thing right there, that's the groundwork that will be able to hold everything else around you. So let's deal with it. Change is hard, but let God show you who you are. I love you all, family. I'll talk to you next time, right here on the Focus on Greatness. Bye-bye.